bringing a sense of intensity to this reality. If we look around, we will start to see that this reality is predicted. We're living in a prediction. And why would we be living in a prediction? Well, if you start to look around, you'll start to see that everyone is essentially coded to act in a certain way. Everyone's coded to act in a certain way. Everyone which is being essentially human has the potential to respond and has a potential to essentially examine the world from two angles. One angle is essentially what the mind convinces us to do, how the mind convinces us to act, respond. It's essentially a computer system. You don't need to get too out there to comprehend it as existence as we know it. It's essentially a computer system which is relaying information. And now this computer system's extremely sophisticated. It knows that it knows our greatest weaknesses. And if we listen to our greatest weaknesses, we'll often just be pushed into a pen, just like sheep. And it's nothing to be afraid of, because that's where they get us, is that when we stress, when we feel worried, or we feel almost like a feeling in us that just panics, we're often being essentially guided towards a predictable life. And it's this predictable life which isn't a negative thing, because as long as we can find love and happiness, we will ultimately learn the truth. And the truth is that this world isn't a good. It's extremely beautiful, just like our true self. But there's a lot of evil which lives in this world. A lot of evil. And this evil, it feeds off the good. It feeds off the love. It feeds off the happiness. It feeds off the joy. And it does this by, it can't truly connect to these high resonating. In fact, a lot of the time they despise this high resonating frequency, which we call unconditional love or unconditional happiness. It despises it. And in order to stop it from being so, and look at us as human beings. We sometimes we despise when someone's happy, and when someone's so happy or they feel good, we despise them. We are essentially taking over the evil if we let it. If we let the evil take over our body, mind, or human experience, we become the evil. And that's essentially what's going on in this reality, is essentially we're being broadcasted within this reality, within the human body, and we have the choice to make. Are we going to come here and bring love, positivity, and joy? Or are we going to come here to take what could be love, joy, and happiness and turn that into a psychotic version of the true self? Now, to summarize and to go a little bit deeper, is that the heart beats love. If we live from the heart, we have the chance to live from the heart. We have the chance to connect to happiness, to joy, being prosperous to our infinite potential. If we live by the mind, we'll never get it, because the mind doesn't want us to get it. That's the thing. So if we always are just living by our mind, listening to our mind, we will never access our hearts unless we learn to overcome the mind. And we do this by implementing changes and bringing positivity into our lives, learning to forgive, learning to accept. Because these are all the states of awareness which block us from achieving the heart's true power. The heart's true power is love, acceptance, respect, honor, gratitude, justice. These are the vibrational awarenesses of the heart. The vibrational awarenesses of the mind is ignorance, hatred, disgust, jealousy, distortion, anger. So we can understand where we're living. Are we living from the mind or living from the heart?